Have you ever experienced a silence so thick it had become deafening? The sort that doesn't calm, but threatens like the stillness before a storm rips all apart? That was the mood within Flagstaff. What were once streets lined with people standing together had become a ghost town of shattered hopes. And at the center of it all, Mary, waiting on her porch for a truth she already dreaded. Brown family compound, which had been full of commotion and bond, lay hauntingly silent now. Half-occupied houses hung in midair. Desert snows were melting, leaving mud welts across driveways. Mary huddled beneath a heavy sweater, protecting herself from more than just the cold in the air. Her gaze followed the horizon, as if waiting for the world to burst open and vomit its next ugliness. And then, as if called by the suspense, Janelle came her jeep grinding over the gravel, bearing not only her form, but a terrible message. Janelle crossed the threshold of the kitchen, a room that was once full of laughter and yelling children. It was now quiet as a grave. She collapsed into a chair, the burden of unsaid facts weighing heavy on her shoulders. At last, with a soft, empty voice, she spoke up and said, "She's gone." But this wasn't merely another leaving. Robyn hadn't stolen only a part of her life. She had stolen it all. Hello, guys. Welcome back to Reality Check. If you're new here, don't forget to like that thumbs up, because what you're about to hear will change the way you look at the whole story. Mary didn't have to ask who. Robyn's name was enough, a charge of emotion that vibrated between the two women. They both knew she wasn't returning, and as for Cody, he was breaking. That morning, hair standing on end and holding a shattered coffee mug like a security blanket, he had charged across the yard, yelling into a phone that refused to cease its buzzing. All the things Cody thought he was in charge of were falling away from him. His wives had abandoned him. His kids had dispersed. Even the producers of TLC had ceased contacting him. And then there was Robyn, last to go, administering the coup de grace. But what if I told you? Robyn's leaving wasn't on the spur of the moment. What if it had been planned for months, perhaps years? 2 weeks prior to her disappearance, Robyn embarked on what was deemed an innocent journey to Salt Lake City. But people who paid close attention saw something had changed. She wasn't going to visit relatives. She was seeing someone. Someone who had looked at her differently for a long time. Jonathan McCall, a calm and suave real estate developer, had been watching her quietly. They'd originally met at a spiritual retreat the previous year. What started as courteous exchanges via email grew into something more. He didn't view her as Cody's property or as the menace that she'd been framed to be. He viewed her, really saw her. Picture sitting across from another human being in a quiet restaurant. No cameras, no labels. Just two humans attempting to recall who they are without the din. That's where Robyn ended up. And in that instant, something within her realigned. She refused the wine the waiter had brought. Her hands shook across the menu. Then she whispered, "Without him, I don't know who I am." Jonathan leaned forward slowly and said, "Then it's time you meet her." Robyn didn't weep that evening. She laughed, soft, painful, but true. It was the laugh of a person taking air for the first time in decades. When she returned to Flagstaff, her posture had altered. Her voice was firm. She packed quietly, going with the assistance of her older kids. There were tears, of course, but no one intervened. They had all witnessed her pain long enough, and then appeared the video. A porch camera captured Robyn standing next to Jonathan, arms crossed, eyes weary but determined. The video blew up online, Reddit, TMZ, Instagram. Overnight, she was a symbol. To some, a traitor. To others, a woman taking back her life. But the internet wasn't the only thing that exploded. Cody's world started to fall apart in real time. It began with furious voicemails to producers. Then there was a social media tirade, scrubbed hours later, of betrayal. He was yelled at cardboard boxes in the backyard, bleeding and barefoot from kicking them. Desperation seeped into all the calls, all the requests for a new season of TLC. But the cameras had abandoned him. His final known interview revealed a man emptied out, eyes sunken, voice barely above a whisper. They all left, he breathed. She did too, the one. And so the chapter closes. But what is to come, for Robyn, for Cody, for the fragments left behind, is still unknown. One thing is certain, nobody foresaw this ending. Or perhaps we all did deep down. Her heart was mine. Cody's voice broke. She said she loved me. Cody's voice cracked. She said she believed in us, in this family. But now she was gone, with a man who had loafers and spoke of therapy. The irony cut deeper than anything, and for once, Cody didn't perform for the camera. He cried, quietly. Weeks went by and the compound became colder, not only physically, but spiritually. 2 lots went into foreclosure. The silence was not peaceful. It was abandonment made into architecture. The lives constructed on this land were crumbling into memory one by one. But as Cody unraveled, something gorgeous unfurled elsewhere. Janelle and Mary, women once splintered by the very same system, healed in each other. In the midst of Sedona under big sun-soaked skies, they created a women's wellness retreat. The hierarchy, the power struggle, was gone. Instead, healing, wholeness, hope. Robyn hadn't come back to Flagstaff, but she had returned, not in real life, but on Instagram. A silver band sparkled on her finger, her flowing forest green gown ruffling in the wind. She laughed, without shoes, carefree, and Jonathan stood behind her, his hand lightly at her waist. It wasn't covert. It didn't have to be. She was living loud. But if you thought that was the end of it, think again. The internet saw it all. From Robyn's quiet confidence to those stranger-than-fiction mirror messages that Cody had written in lipstick all over their house. Reddit erupted in criticism, not only of Robyn's brazen comeback, but of the whole weird world that she and Cody had created. The sink, direct from the Flintstones. The bedroom, a medieval throne room basted in tacky purple. It looked like budget-costing royal cosplay. Fans weren't impressed. They weren't charmed. They were appalled. Cody, always playing Romeo, had assigned Robyn his Juliet. But no one was believing the performance anymore. One of the fans caught Robyn staring into the mirror, her hair curled and her whispering to herself, "Is this good enough?" It wasn't vanity, pressure. She had become the living doll Cody always dreamed of. He'd said it himself. He liked to see her look a certain way. Perfect, plastic, like a high-priced American girl. And behind each perfect Instagram moment was a harrowing struggle to keep up the facade. According to ex-wives, Robyn would slip away on camping trips to put on makeup, leaving them to deal with the dirty work. But perfection is costly. It's isolating. It's unsustainable. And Robyn might be beginning to realize that. Cody, on the other hand, can't help but idealize Robyn. He's fawned over her like a schoolboy, in comparing her to diesel jeans models and soccer moms in the same sentence. That monogamy will prove inadequate. Others think that even now, Cody yearns to introduce another woman into the equation construct, a throuple fantasy. Robyn has no interest. She's already stated it. Cody is difficult to live with. His moods fluctuate daily. His passion, though romanticized, is also controlling. One of his mirror messages was straightforward, a heart around his first. Adorable on the surface. But is it love or control masquerading as love? And if this actually is his fairy tale conclusion, why so bitter? You'd think a man who finally got his dream woman would be happy, dancing in clouds, kissing cherubs, celebrating his victory. But Cody wasn't celebrating, he was unraveling. Why? Because what he had built wasn't love, it was power. And now, even that is fading. Mary, Christine, and Janelle used to be typed as the mean ones, resentful, cold, illogical. But see them now, stronger, happier, radiant, not in the limelight, but in life. Perhaps they weren't the evil ones after all. Perhaps they were merely women getting by in a system that never intended to empower them. And Cody? He's left to try and weave a fantasy palace for Robyn, like some bargain basement Gatsby trying to keep her under his spell. But even fairy tales won't hold up once the magic wears off. And this one? It's becoming a cautionary tale rather than a love story. At least, that's the point of view of one observant Reddit user. Their home isn't just a house, it's a shrine to her, Robyn, Cody's rose garden, his most treasured thing, his constant, his weakness. Regardless of how many marriages fail, Robyn is not touched, cherished, adored. It's hard to imagine now to envision Cody without her. And the house they constructed, it exactly tells that tale. American Girl dolls, a rock sink out of bedrock, designer David Yurman baubles, and Cody's proudly featured Star Wars men. The bedroom is a fantasy convention royal suite. Whimsical doesn't even start to explain it. It's a maximalist dream world, brash and over the top, constructed of memory, fantasy, and perhaps denial. Some of his fans ask, is Cody really happy in monogamy? Or was he pushed into it, boxed into abandoning plural marriage for one woman alone? Perhaps he's just playing a part. Even on a reality program, after all, nobody gives up all their parts. Secrets still creep in during the quiet moments, just beyond the edge of the camera's eye. Even the selling of Coyote Pass, the dusty symbol of a never-realized dream, did not mend things. The property sold for $1.5 million, its proceeds divided between Cody, Janelle, and Mary. Christine. She did a fairy tale exit with David Woolley, riding off into the sunset herself, while Cody held on tighter to the one wife left behind. Their Flagstaff living room was outfitted with a Western flair, complete to a Lone Star rug done in the Walmart aesthetic. Think leather sofas the size of pickups, Tex-Mex ambiance, and cowboy hats. It was supposed to be tough and self-sufficient. Instead, fans felt it resembled a lobby at a mid-tier chain roadside hotel. Reddit just couldn't roast the couple's taste. Clashing themes, cluttered rooms, and that infamous purple bedroom. But one thing nobody could argue with, they had a theme, a vision. They didn't simply throw crap together. They created a world where fantasy reigned over function. Every corner of the house was filled, overstuffed even, with symbolism. Cody's Transformers and Star Wars collectibles were not toys. They were touchstones, nostalgia, identity, and Robyn's $70,000 collection of American Girl dolls, decked out, secreted away, but genuine. These weren't decorative items, they were emotional anchors. Because the truth is, people show themselves through what they hold dear, through what they exhibit. Cody's house is not a paean to good taste, but it is an unclouded reflection of him, of his desire for control, for fantasy, for youth maybe. And Robyn? She stands right along with him, ensnared in velvet curtains and designer allure. Sister Wives Season 19 cast them as Western showdown characters. Cody, usually wearing the black hat, is more outlaw than patriarch today, particularly when three wives depart and one gets all the power. Robyn may pretend to be innocent, but she's aware of her role. She's in, and she's not going anywhere. And still, despite the love notes in the mirror, the coordinating jewelry, and the designer touches, there's a emptiness. Because dream houses don't necessarily create joyful lives. And when the cameras shut off and the visitors depart, All that's remaining are the haunting reminders of what was given up. We may never fully understand Robin and Cody's inner world. They've shown us so much and yet told us so little. But one thing's certain, their house isn't just a living space, it's a story. And every overstuffed shelf, every wild rug, every hidden doll, it's another clue in the strange, ongoing mystery of sister wives. The dolls are dressed in specially designed gowns, their zippers beaded by hand, sparkling in the gentle lighting of Robin's sanctuary. They are not toys. They are part of a carefully crafted universe. A universe where fantasy reigns supreme, where obsession is devotion, and where love sometimes has a very tangible price. Janelle took with little, a tragic end to a woman who invested decades in creating a family empire. Christine and Mary appear more stable today, but it's difficult to picture they departed without pain, without fury, without bitterness over the management of the money or themselves. Cody's love, time, money, even his body, all ultimately revolved around one woman. And as the years went by, the rest just phased out, alone, rejected, until they reclaimed their independence and left. But Robin? Cody would do anything for her. She's already admitted it herself. She enjoys splurging to improve her lifestyle. And in their home, with its playful stone sink and purple king bedroom, it's obvious whose tastes are inspiring the decor, whose tastes rule their kingdom. Some may term it extravagant, others may term it fairy tale cosplay. In any case, Robin is the queen, and Cody doesn't seem to care. Their relationship, in spite of it all, has survived. But even fairy tales are not exempt from tragedy. Losing Garrison Brown weighs heavily on the family. It's the sort of sorrow that no parent ever recovers from. It puts everything into perspective. Wallpaper and rugs mean nothing in that sort of pain. You stop being concerned about what Reddit will think of your curtains at a certain point. You just want peace. You want healing. Still, not everything Cody's done lately has been the subject of contempt. In a surprise turn, he provided Mary with and Janelle with $35,000 apiece after unloading the notorious Coyote Pass property. Some considered it an isolated moment of altruism. Others perceived a legal maneuver, one last hope to sidestep lawsuits or closer inspection. Whatever the reason, the result counted. It was funds that could be used to rebuild lives, and after years of being on the periphery, that counted more than motive. Nowadays, Cody and Robin reside in a $2.1 million house in Flagstaff, a destination that, for good or ill, is now the new focal point of this broken family's life story. Fans might complain about the design. Critics might ridicule the maximalism and mirror missives, but ultimately, it's their home, their existence, their definition of love. And while the rest of them ride off into their own made futures, Christine with David, Janelle starting up her own business, Mary discovering her own voice, Cody and Robin stick around. Together, for now. So what's next for the universe of sister wives? Will Robin and Cody's kingdom remain intact? Will new cracks form behind the shiny surfaces? Or is this at last their happily ever after? Let us know what you think in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that notification bell for more real-life drama, deep dives, and updates on your favorite TLC families. Thanks for watching.